Gambeson. Gambeson was a thick padded jacket made from layers of linen, wool, or cloth stitched together to absorb impact. It was one of the most common types of armor during the medieval period because it was relatively cheap and easy to produce. Many infantry soldiers wore gambeson as their main protection, while wealthier warriors used it as a base layer under heavier armor. The padding helped soften blows from weapons and also prevented metal armor from rubbing painfully against the body. Despite being made from fabric, a well-constructed gambeson could resist cuts surprisingly well. It was lightweight compared to metal armor and allowed good mobility, which made it practical for long battles or marches. Chainmail. Chainmail, often simply called mail, was made from thousands of small metal rings linked together to form a flexible protective mesh. These rings were usually riveted or welded closed so they would not easily separate during combat. Chainmail armor protected especially well against slashing attacks from swords and axes because the rings distributed the force across the surface. A typical chainmail shirt, called a hauberk, covered the torso, arms, and sometimes extended down to the knees. Many versions also included a hood known as a coif to protect the neck and head. While effective, chainmail was heavy and expensive to produce, meaning it was most commonly worn by knights or professional soldiers. Scale armor. Scale armor was constructed from many small metal plates shaped like scales and attached to a backing made of leather or fabric. The scales overlapped one another in rows, similar to the scales of a fish, creating a layered protective surface. This design allowed the armor to deflect slashing blows while still maintaining some flexibility for the wearer. Scale armor was used in many regions, including parts of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. One advantage of this armor was that damaged scales could be replaced individually without rebuilding the entire piece. Although heavier than padded armor, it offered stronger protection and was often used by soldiers who needed both defense and mobility on the battlefield. Lamellar armor. Lamellar armor was made from small rectangular plates called lamellae that were laced together using cords or leather strips. Unlike scale armor, these plates were connected directly to each other instead of being attached to a cloth backing. This created a strong yet flexible structure that could absorb and distribute the force of incoming blows. Lamellar armor was widely used across Eastern Europe, the Byzantine Empire, and many parts of Asia. Because the plates were tied together in sections, armorers could adjust the size and shape to fit the wearer more precisely. This design made lamellar armor both durable and practical for warriors who needed protection while remaining mobile in combat. Brigandine. Brigandine armor combined the protection of metal plates with the flexibility of cloth or leather garments. Small metal plates were riveted to the inside of a jacket or vest, creating a protective layer hidden beneath the outer fabric. From the outside, the armor often looked like a decorated coat with rows of rivet heads forming patterns across the surface. This design allowed brigandine to provide strong protection while remaining lighter and more comfortable than full-plate armor. It became especially popular during the later medieval period among both soldiers and knights. Brigandine represented an important step in the evolution of armor, bridging the gap between chainmail-based defenses and full-plate protection. Plate armor. Plate armor was one of the most advanced forms of protection developed during the medieval era. It consisted of large, shaped steel plates designed to cover the chest, arms, legs, and shoulders of the wearer. Each piece was carefully crafted to fit the body while allowing movement at the joints. Plate armor was highly effective because its curved surfaces could deflect many weapon strikes instead of absorbing them directly. When combined with chainmail and padding underneath, it offered exceptional protection against most common medieval weapons. However, creating a full suit of plate armor required skilled craftsmanship and high-quality steel, making it extremely expensive. As a result, full plate armor was usually worn by wealthy knights or elite warriors. Half-plate. Half-plate armor was a practical combination of metal plate pieces and lighter armor materials, such as chainmail or padded clothing. Instead of covering the entire body with steel plates, Half-plate focused on protecting the most vital areas like the chest, shoulders, and sometimes the upper arms. The rest of the body might be protected by chainmail or gambeson. This combination reduced the overall weight and cost while still offering strong defense where it mattered most. Half-plate armor became common among professional soldiers who needed reliable protection but could not afford a full suit of plate armor. It provided a useful balance between mobility, affordability, and battlefield effectiveness. Coat of plates. The coat of plates was an early form of metal torso protection that appeared before the widespread use of full plate armor. It consisted of several large metal plates riveted inside a cloth or leather vest. These plates overlapped slightly to create a protective shell around the chest and abdomen. From the outside, the garment often looked like a decorated coat with visible rivet heads showing where the plates were attached inside. This armor design offered much stronger protection than chainmail alone while remaining relatively flexible. The coat of plates was widely used during the 13th and 14th centuries and played an important role in the transition from chainmail-based armor to the fully developed plate armor of later medieval knights. Maximilian grotesque armor. Maximilian grotesque armor was one of the strangest and most theatrical armor styles created during the Renaissance. It appeared in the early 1500s during the reign of Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I, who encouraged armor that combined protection with artistic expression. Unlike typical knight armor designed only for battle, grotesque armor featured helmets sculpted into exaggerated human faces, monsters, or mythical creatures. Many helmets had bulging eyes, oversized noses, horns, or twisted expressions that made the wearer appear both intimidating and bizarre. These designs were inspired by the Renaissance artistic style known as grotesque, which celebrated unusual and exaggerated imagery.